Hi friends, a very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome once again on the YouTube channel of BYJU'S exam prep in the month in which the CAT is going to be conducted in another 10 days. So yes, the countdown has already started and it's already 17th of November and we have our CAT examination on 26th of November. So all of you must have started this countdown for CAT examination, and I'm sure that in these last few days which are left for CAT, your preparation for CAT is going right on track. So you have already started the revision, or started. Nahi, I would say that you must be on the verge of completing your revision. You all must be taking last set of mock papers, right? So what I'll suggest that till 20th of November, you must be finished with your last mock examination, last mock CAT. After 20th of November, do not write any mock. Okay. So take my advice. Don't do any kind of experiments, which I keep on saying in every class. Don't do any kind of experiments. Just read, study, or revise whatever you have already covered up till now. Look at the sets that you have. Look at the sets of data interpretation and logical reasoning which you have already solved in the past, and or probably the sets which are based on the similar kind of concepts that you have covered. Do not practice anything new. All right. So friends, a very good afternoon to all of you. Abhishek, welcome in this session. A very good afternoon. Now today we are going to take on some of the reasoning based data interpretation questions which have appeared in previous year paper questions of CAT examination. So like I told you that we are not going to take on anything new. So we are going to revise whatever we have already seen earlier, or the concepts which are already been tested in CAT examination. All right. So today we are going to solve two different sets. We'll be taking on these sets one by one. So I'll be showing you some common set of data for the first set, and then we'll be solving the questions based on that set one by one. Kush, Sonali, good afternoon. All right, so without wasting any time, without any delays, let's begin solving these questions. Okay. Now, first set is based on the concept of maxima minima. It's not the concept of Venn diagram, but the basic concept of maxima minima. All right. So let's practice. Let's start practicing the first set. All of you be ready with your pen and a rough sheet. Good afternoon, everyone. Hitansh, good afternoon. So we shall be starting with the first practice set in a few moments. All of you must be ready with a pen and a sheet of paper. One sheet of paper will be enough for both the sets. All right. So the common set of directions for the first practice set, for the first four questions on your screen now. So that's it. These are the directions which are given for the first four questions. I'll wait on these set of directions for 2 minutes and then I take you to the first question. Now, this is the most important point among the three. So read all the directions carefully and be ready to answer the questions that will follow. Now, the directions are telling us that an ATM dispenses exactly rupees 5,000 per withdrawal. Okay, so you cannot withdraw less than 5,000, you cannot withdraw more than 5,000. Okay, so it's a funny ATM, and it is doing some funnier things that we will read ahead. So an ATM dispenses exactly rupees 5,000 per withdrawal using the notes of rupees 100, rupees 200, or rupees 500. Okay, the ATM requires every customer's preference for one of the three denominations of notes. Then, after giving the preference, then the ATM dispenses notes such that the number of notes of the customer's preferred denomination exceeds the total number of notes of the other denominations exceeds the total number of notes of the other denominations. Okay, so this is the fashion, this is the manner in which the ATM is dispensing the money. All right. So the currency, the denominations used are 100, 200, and 500. Total money that it will dispense is exactly 5,000 rupees. It will ask for the customer's preference of the denomination. Then it will dispense the notes such that the number of notes of the preferred denomination will be more than, strictly more than, the total number of notes of the other denominations. I'll give you an example. So let's say I have given 500 as my preference, 100 and 200 are the other denominations. Okay, so it may dispense 10 notes of 5,000, sorry, 10 notes of 500 rupees each. Okay, then 0 notes of 100 and 0 notes of 200. Okay, so it is dispensing the money such that my preferred denomination, the number of notes of my preferred denomination is more than the sum of the other two. So 10 is more than the sum of the other two. Or it can be like this. Let's say 500 rupee notes are, let's say 8, and 100 rupee notes is 0, and 200 rupee notes is 5. So this is another way in which it can dispense 5,000 rupees. So 8 notes of 500 rupees will account to 4,000 rupees, and then 5 notes of 200. So again, 8 is more than the sum of these two. So I have given you example, two examples in fact, if my preferred denomination is 500 rupees. All right. So this is the entire directions. Let's move on to the first question. First question on your screen: in how many different ways can the ATM serve a customer who gives 500 rupee notes as her preference? Nice. So I have given you an example. I have given you two examples. Both the examples were for the preference of 500 rupee notes. You'll have to find out the total number of ways in which ATM can serve a customer who gives 500 rupee note as the preference. Come on, quickly do this. All of you, quickly post your answers. So Sonali has given the first answer as 7. All right, Sonali. You still have a few seconds left. You can cross check your answer. Any other student who would like to post his or her answer? Okay, let's begin solving this. Now my preference is 500 rupee note. So number of notes of 500 should be more than the total number of notes of 100 and 200 rupees. Okay. So what can be the maximum number of notes of rupees 500? So it can be 10, and then the other two can be 0, 0. So yes, this is one of the valid ways in which ATM can serve a customer whose preference is 500. Okay. Now, a lot of you have given the answer. Sonali says 7, Sri Harsha 3, Abhishek 8, Vanchita 7, Samruddhi 8, Kush has given 8 as the answer. So most of you have given 8, 2 of you have given 7, and 1 student has given 3. Let's check it out. So number of 500 rupee notes is 10, the others are 0, 0. Now I'll reduce the number of 500 rupee notes and will find out the corresponding number of 100 and 200 rupee notes. So if 500 rupee notes is 9, I can have 5 notes of this and 0 of this. Okay, so 9 notes of 500 will account for 4,500 rupees. I'll write it in bracket, and the remaining 500 are catered by 100 rupee notes. Okay, now I can reduce 100 rupee notes and correspondingly increase 200 rupee notes. So every increase of 1 in 200 rupee notes, 100 rupee notes will be decreased by 2. Okay, so 5 से 3 हो गया, यहाँ से 0 पे 1 हो गया. All right. Further, it can be 1 and 2 with 9 notes of 500 rupees. Okay, so I have already seen 3 another ways in which I can give 9 notes of 500 rupees. All right. Now let's further reduce the number of notes of 500 rupees. So it will become 8. So can I serve the customer using all 100 rupee notes? So if I'll give 10 100 rupee notes, no, I cannot do that, but I'll still write this way. So 100 and 0, right? So 100 rupee notes will be reduced by 2. 200 rupee notes will be increased by 1. So 8, 6, 4, 2, 0, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now in this case, the first possibility 8, 10, 0 is not available because number of 500 rupee notes should be more than the sum of the other notes. So 8 is not more than 10. I will remove this. Similarly, 8 is not more than the sum of the other two in the second case. So second case will also be removed. And the third case will also be removed because 8 and 8, they are equal. Okay, so these 3 cases are removed and I'll be considering these 3 cases which are valid. So total number of cases 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 cases up till now. Now I'll further reduce the number of 500 rupee notes. So number of 500 rupee notes, if I'll consider as 7. Okay. Now I have given 3,500 rupees using 7 notes of 500 rupees. Then the money left is 1,500. Now, even if I'll use maximum number of 200 rupee notes to minimize the number of notes. Okay. So if I'll use maximum number of 200 rupee notes, so they can be 7, and I'll have to use one note of 100 rupees. Okay. So this is the minimum number of notes that I can use to give the balance amount of money. Now this number of notes 7 plus 1 8 is more than the number of 500 rupee notes. So there will not be any possibility that I can use 7 notes of 500 rupees to give or to serve a customer. All right. So giving 7 500 rupee notes is not possible. So that means there will be the 7 cases that I have written, which will be the number of ways ATM can serve a customer who gives 500 rupee note as her preference. All right. So those who have got 8 as the answer, can you tell me which is the extra possibility that you have considered? Kota, Kush, Samruddhi, Abhishek, I hope all of you have understood. Okay, all of you have understood your mistake. So in case you have any kind of confusion regarding any of the cases, please write that case and I will discuss it. All right. Now you have this in front of you. Now answering the other remaining questions will be easier, will be slightly easier for you. Okay, right? So let's move on and look at the next question. So answer for question number 1 was 7. Let's move on and look at problem number 2. Now, if the ATM could serve only 10 customers with a stock of 50 500 rupee notes and a sufficient number of notes of other denominations. So 500 rupee notes are limited and the other currency is sufficient, is unlimited. Okay. Then what is the maximum number of customers among these 10 who could have given 500 rupee notes as their preference? If you have understood the first question, answering this second question will become very easy for you. Yes, any answer? Okay. So answers are 6, 8, 5. 8 हट गया, 8 गायब हो गया. Harsh has given 5. Okay. Now what all do we have? Total of 10 customers. Right now I don't know what the preference is. I have 50 notes of 500 rupee denomination and sufficient number of the notes of other denominations. So there is no problem with the limit of the number of notes of the other two denominations, right? I have to serve maximum number of customers who could have given 500 rupee as their preference. So the preference is 500 rupee and I have to maximize the number of customers and I have limited number of 500 rupee notes. So if I have to maximize the number of customers, I should try to give them minimum number of notes of 500 rupees. Okay. Now, anyone who has given the preference, anyone who has given the preference as a 500 rupee note, these are the ways in which I can serve him. I can either give that person 10 notes, or I can give 9 notes, or I can give 8 notes. Okay, so anyone who has given a preference as 500 rupee note can be given 10, 9, or 8 notes of 500 rupees. All right, fine. This is the information I have. Now, in order to maximize the number of customers, I should be giving minimum number of notes of 500 rupees. The minimum number of notes is 8 notes per customer of 500 rupees. So using these 50 notes, every customer is given 8 notes. So 50 divided by 8, what is the quotient? So 6 into 8 is 48. So I can serve a maximum of 6 customers and like I can serve a maximum of 6 customers and 2 notes of 500 rupees will be left, which can now be given to any of the remaining customers. All right. So out of these 10, maximum 6 customers can be served whose preference is 500 rupee note. Okay. So Monu, Vanchita, Abhishek, and Sri Harsha, 4 of you have given correct answer. Okay. So the correct answer here is definitely 6. Next question, question number 3. Now you have options for this one. What is the number of 500 rupee notes required to serve 50 customers with 500 rupee notes as their preference and another 500 and another 50 customers with 100 rupee notes as their preference if the total number of notes to be dispensed is smallest possible? So using minimum number of notes, we'll have to serve 50 customers having 500 as the preference and 50 customers with 100 rupee note as their preference. Yes, any answer? Okay, Abhishek has given the first answer. All right. Okay, let's have a look at it. Now, understand the agenda of this question. The main agenda is the total number of notes to be dispensed is the smallest possible. So we'll have to minimize the total number of notes, right? I'm happy to serve two types of customer. One whose preference is 500 rupee note, okay, right? So let's see what is the minimum number of notes that can be given to this person, okay? Now, my preference is 500 rupee notes and I have to minimize the total number of notes. Now, in order to minimize the total number of notes, I must try to give the customer maximum number of notes of 500 rupees. So अगर मैं 500 रुपी के ज्यादा से ज्यादा notes use करता हूं, then the total number of notes that I will use will be minimum possible. Okay, so my preference is 500 rupee note. I will give 10 notes of 500 rupees, 0 notes of this and 0 notes of this. Okay, so I can see that I have satisfied the customer. The preference is 500 rupee note, and simultaneously I have used the minimum number of total notes. Okay, so the number of notes given to every customer is 10. I have to serve 50 such customers multiplied by 50. Okay, so the number of 500 rupee notes, the number of 500 rupee notes for these 50 customers used is 500. Okay, up till now I have used 500 notes of 500 rupees. Done. Now let's look at the second type of customer. The second type of customer is a customer whose preference is 100 rupee note. Okay. Now I have to minimize the total number of notes. Okay. I have to minimize total number of notes. So I'll give him maximum number of 500 rupee notes. So can I give him 10 notes? No, I cannot, right? Because 100 rupee notes will be 0. So I'll try to give him 9 notes of 500 rupees. Okay. Now if I give him 9 notes of 500 rupees, then I can give only 5 notes of 100 rupees. Again, the preference is not served. I'll further reduce the number of 500 rupee notes. I'll make it 8 and I can keep it 10. Okay. So now in this manner, I have satisfied this customer. His preference was 100 rupee note. Okay. And while doing this, I have also minimized the total number of notes that is used. Okay. So this is the way in which this customer whose preference is 100 rupee note will be served. Now, to serve this customer, I have given him 8 notes of 500 rupees. How many such customers are there? 50 customers. So 400 notes of 500 rupees will be required. So total number of notes of 500 rupees will be 500 plus 400, that is 900. So 900, option D should be the correct answer of this question. Okay, so basically we did not have to find out the total number of notes, we have to find out the number of 500 rupee notes that is required. Okay, all right, so that's it about the third question. The correct answer should be option D, that is 900. Let's move on and look at the last question of this set, after which we will start the second set. Now the preference is not mentioned in this question. So the preference can be any denomination. Understand the condition. Maximum number of notes that can be given is 20. Okay. All right. So Abhishek is saying 10. So 10 is the answer according to Abhishek. Kota says option A, that is 16. Okay, 10 and 16. Huge difference. Okay, let's begin this. Now we have to maximize the number of customers and we have limited number of 50, limited number of 500 rupee notes. So 500 rupee notes kitne hai mere paas? 50. Okay. Now using only 50 500 rupee notes, I have to maximize the number of customers. Okay. So that means I should be giving minimum number of 500 rupee notes to every customer. Okay. Because number of 500 rupee notes is limited and I have to maximize the number of customers. So I'll be able to maximize the number of customers if I will minimize the number of 500 rupee notes given to them. Okay. Now the constraint. This constraint is important because I can give any number of 500 rupee notes, but the constraint is I can use not more than 20 notes every withdrawal. So total number of notes that I can give to any customer will not exceed 20. Okay. So let's do this. Let's try to find out minimum 500 rupee notes that can be used. Right. So 500 rupee note, 100 rupee note, and 200 rupee note. Okay. Now, can I give 6 500 rupee notes to any customer? If I give 6 500 rupee notes, the money given is 3,000. Then the remaining 2,000, if I will use 200 rupee note, I'll use 10 200 rupee note. So yes, using total 16 notes, I can serve the customer. Okay. And here only 6 notes of 500 rupees are used. But the question is, can I further reduce the number of 500 rupee notes? Okay. So if I'll reduce the number of 500 rupee notes to 5, okay, that means 2,500 rupees are given. Okay. And I will use 12 notes of 200 rupees and one note of 100 rupees. So total number of notes used is 18, which is still less than 20. Okay. So yes, I have reduced the number of 500 rupee notes given per customer to 5. 5 notes भी दे सकते हैं. क्या मैं इसको further reduce कर सकता हूँ? Can I give 4 notes of 500 rupees? So if I give 4 notes of 500 rupees, I have given 2,000 rupees. Okay. And the remaining 3,000 rupees can be given by using 15 notes of 200 rupees. The total number of notes here is 19 and it's still less than 20. Let's move ahead. Let's try it further, reducing the number of 500 rupee notes to 3. 1500 rupees is given. Remaining 3500 rupees, I can give 17 notes of 200 and I'll have to give one note of this. And here the number of notes is how much? The number of notes is 21. So I cannot do this. All right. I cannot do this. Okay. Clear? So the minimum number of 500 rupee notes that I can give to any customer is 4. I have 50 notes. 50 divided by 4, the quotient is 12. So maximum 12 customers can be served. So the answer should be option C, that is 12. All right. So very less number of students have given option C as the answer. Shri Harsha has given, Jayant and Vanshita. So 3 students have given option C, which is the correct answer. All right. Okay, so that was set number 1. Let's quickly move on to set number 2. Now, in a few moments, the common set of directions for practice set number 2 will appear on your screen. Okay. Again, the direction set is very small. So after 1 minute, I will take you to the first question. Okay. So the direction set for the next 4 questions on your screen now. So it's question number 5, 6, 7, 8 up till question number 8. Machine M1 as well as machine M2 can independently produce either product P or product Q. The time taken by machines M1 and M2 in minutes to produce 1 unit of product P and product Q are given in the table. Each machine works 8 hours per day. All right. So this table, which shows the time taken by machine M1 and M2 to produce P and Q in number of minutes, this table will be available with every question. Okay, so you don't have to write anything. So this table is very simple. 2 machines are there, M1, M2. They produce product P and Q, and the number of minutes to produce the products P and Q by each of these machines M1 and M2 is given on your screen, right? Each machine works independently, okay, and each machine works for 8 hours per day. So this is important. You can note down this particular part. Okay, so I'll take you to the first question. First question on your screen: what is the maximum number of units that can be manufactured in one day? Maximum number of units, total number of units that can be manufactured in one day. One day, 8 working hours, 8 hours for M1, 8 hours for M2. Tell me what will be the maximum number of units that can be manufactured. Should not be taking more than 45 seconds to answer this. All right. Sri Harsha. Two answers already on the screen. Now both the machines can work independently. Okay. Now 8 hours, that means 8 multiplied by 60. For every machine, I have 480 minutes available. Okay. Now the first question is asking you to maximize the number of units. They have not mentioned any constraint that you will have to produce product P, or you will have to produce product Q, or you will have to produce both. You cannot produce one of them, you can produce the other. No such condition is given. Okay. So you will have to produce the product which takes lesser amount of time. So if I talk about machine 1 takes 10 minutes to make product P and 6 minutes for Q. So obviously machine 1 will be used to produce product Q. Similarly, machine 2 takes 8 minutes for P and 6 minutes for Q. So machine 2 will also produce Q. So both the machines will produce Q, right? So every machine will produce 480 divided by 6, that is 80 units of each of the products. So machine 1 will produce 80 units, machine 2 likewise will produce 80 units. All right. And both of them will produce Q. Okay, both of them will produce Q because P is taking more amount of time. So 80 plus 80, that is 160. Option B, 160 is the correct answer for this question. All right, simple as that. First question simple tha. Not all of them will be simple. Next question on your screen. If M1 works at half its normal efficiency, what is the maximum number of units produced if at least one unit of each must be produced? So now there is a condition, at least one unit of each product must be produced. Atharv, at this point in time, I will give you only one suggestion. Just practice around 10 different type of sets based on quant based reasoning. So you can go for arithmetic based and algebra based. Fine. Just practice 10 12 sets and that's it. Don't do anything extra. So if you are facing issues here, then drop this topic, just practice it for another 3 4 days, 10 different sets, and then drop it. Don't look at it again. So the topics in which you are strong now in these last 9 days, just revise only those topics. Okay, Athar? So please, I will not give you any kind of advice. I'm really sorry. I might be sounding not good, not nice, but in these last 9 days, I cannot ask you to do any kind of experiments. That may prove fatal for your preparation for these last 9 days. If you would have asked me the same question 15 days ago, a month ago, I would have certainly given you some advice, but not right now in these last moments just before the examination. Okay. All right. So the first answer given by Suku, that is option D, 119. Okay. Are you sure? Okay. Now, I will right now not take care of this condition. At least one unit of each must be produced. Right. Now, M1 works at half its normal efficiency. Nothing is said about M2, so must be working at its normal efficiency. So if M1 is working at half the normal efficiency, then M1 will take double the time to produce each of these products. So मैंने double कर दिया, and M2 will work at its normal efficiency. So M2 will take normal time to produce. Now, taking into consideration this particular thing, I'll have to maximize the total number of units. So M1 will produce Q and M2 will also produce Q because they are taking lesser amount of time than to produce Q, than to produce P. Okay. So M1 working for 480 minutes will produce 480 divided by 12, that is 40 units of Q. Okay. Similarly, M2 working for 480 minutes, taking 6 minutes per production of Q will produce 480 upon 6, that is 80 units of Q. So right now I have 120 units of Q. Okay, 120 units. But what I have to do is I have to produce at least 1 unit of each. Fine. So what I'll do is I will not produce 2 units of Q. So I'll save 24 minutes and will produce 1 unit of P. 1 unit of P. So 2 units of Q will make way for 1 unit of P. So Q के 2 units कम हो गए और P का 1 unit बढ़ गया. So +1 - 2. That means 119 units can be produced. Okay. Now Shreyarsha is saying something. Here it is mentioned about only M1. I surprised by the options as its efficiency is half now. Then how can it produce more than 80 units? Now Shri Harsha, you can have a look at how it can produce more than 80 units. So only M1 is working at half its normal efficiency. M2 will work at its normal efficiency. So nothing is mentioned about M2. So M2 will work at normal efficiency. M2 is still available. Okay. All right. So the correct answer here is 119. Let's move on to question number 7. Now, question number 7, what is the least number of machine hours required to produce 30 pieces of P and 25 pieces of Q, respectively? I'm sorry. So, Atharv, in that case, I would suggest you to quickly go through the basic concepts of arithmetic and algebra. Okay. Simultaneously, you can practice sets. So every day you can practice 2 sets of quant-based data interpretation. All right, and then simultaneously with that, must practice some concepts of algebra and arithmetic. That will help you in scoring better in the questions which are quant-based LRDR. So we'll have to produce 30 pieces of P and 25 pieces of Q respectively. Okay. We have to find out the least number of machine hours that will be used. Machine hours means number of hours of machine M1 plus the number of hours of machine M2. Okay, Samruddhi, first answer. Sri Harsha. चलिए देखिए आंसर जल्दी से. 30 pieces of P and 25 pieces of Q. Now, which machine will produce which product? Okay. Now, if I have to produce P, then I must use M2 because M2 is taking lesser amount of time. If I have to produce Q, I can use any machine, right? So there is no dispute. To produce Q, I can use M1, and to produce P, I can use M2, right? Now 30 pieces of P, that is 30 multiplied by 8 plus 25 pieces of Q, 25 multiplied by 6. This is the number of minutes. So 240 and 150, that is 390 minutes. 390 minutes is equal to 6 hours 30 minutes. Very simple question, very simple answer. So option A, 6 hours 30 minutes is correct. Okay. Now let's quickly move on to the last question. Now last question is slightly difficult. If the number of units of P is to be 3 times that of Q, what is the maximum idle time to maximize total units manufactured? So we'll have to maximize the total number of units which are manufactured such that number of units of P is 3 times that of Q. Okay. After doing this, what will be the idle time that is left? कितना खाली टाइम बचेगा मशीन्स के ऊपर? You can take 2 minutes to solve this. Okay. So one of the students have given answer as 0 minutes. चलिए सॉल्व करते हैं. Okay. Now important things. Now number of units of P is more than, like it's 3 times the number of units of Q. So P की units जो है वो ज़्यादा है, Q की कम है. And there is huge difference. Number of units of P is 3 times that of Q. Okay. Also we'll have to maximize the total number of units manufactured. Now when it comes to Q, it can be produced on any of the machines. Both are taking equal time. Now when it comes to P, M1 is taking 10 and M2 is taking 8 minutes. Now to maximize total number of units manufactured, I must use machine 2 to manufacture P. Okay, so P को मुझे machine 2 पे manufacture करना चाहिए, right? Now number of minutes available for machine 2 is 480, right? Now since number of units of P is 3 times the number of units of Q, then I can say that the entire day of machine M2 will be used to produce P. The entire day will be used because the units are more, right? So entire day when used, it will produce 480 upon 8, 60 units of P, right? Now P की 60 units produce हो चुकी हैं, so I'll have to produce 60 divided by 3, that is 20 units of Q. Okay, now Q will be produced on M1. Now to produce 20 units, 120 minutes will be required. Okay, so now M2 is completely utilized. M1 only 120 minutes are used. So on machine M1, I'm still left with 480 minus 120 minutes. That means 360 minutes. Okay. And up till now, whatever I have done, I have produced 60 units of P and 20 units of Q, right? Q की 20 units and P की 60 units. So P is 3 times than Q up till now. So further in the remaining time, I could also be producing P and Q such that P will still remain 3 times the number of units produced for Q. Okay. Now that means for every 3 units produced for P, I'll be producing 1 unit of Q. Okay. Now P will take 6 minutes Q will also take, wait. On machine M1, mm, on machine M1, P will take 10 minutes. So 3 multiplied by 10, that is 30 minutes. And Q will take 6 minutes. 6 multiplied by 1, that is 6. So total 36 minutes. Okay. So let's say this is one cycle of 36 minutes in which 3 units of P and 1 units of Q is produced. Okay. How many minutes do we have in total? 360 minutes. Okay. So 360 minutes can completely utilized, okay, can be completely utilized. So SESE 10 cycles completely utilized ho jayenge, okay, and I'll be having 30 units of P and 10 units of Q more to be produced in these 360 minutes. Okay, so if I've maximized the total number of units manufactured, okay, and I've taken care that P is 3 times that of Q, then I'm left with 0 minutes. Okay, so number of units of P manufactured is 60 plus 30, that is 90, and Q manufactured is 20 plus 10, that is 30. So yes, Samruddhi, you have given a correct answer. Good. So the correct answer should be option A, that is 0 minutes of unutilized, or 0 minutes of idle time will be left. Okay, so that was the last question of this set. So friends, that is all from my side for the day. You can enroll for other management entrance examinations test series at BYJU'S Exam Prep. These are the complete details. Also, All India Open mock for NMAT 2023, today is the last date for that, 17th November. So if you haven't registered, please do register and write this test. Friends, do not forget to join us for the live detailed analysis of CAT 2023. So these are the slots at which we will be available live on the YouTube channel of our BYJU'S Exam Prep for the detailed analysis of CAT 2023 on 26th of November 2023. So 12:30 p.m., 4:30 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. These are the times at which we will be conducting the live analysis of CAT 2023. Also, CAT 2023 score calculator and percentile predictor will be available for all of you to accurately predict your score, your percentile in CAT 2023. Simply enter your attempts in each section, click predict now button, and you will get the score versus the score as well as the percentile predictor for your examination. So that's all from my side, my dear friends. Thank you for being a part of this session. I hope you would have liked this session. If yes, please do press the like button. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.